Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tokyo Skytree. Be awestruck by the panoramic view. There are so many other fun things to do after you've enjoyed the view. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go, let's enjoy. This is Tokyo Skytree.
Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Hidemi Naganuma.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from our studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even food. If you want to find out the latest in Japan, this is where you'll find it.
And these are topics for today.
In Dream Weavers, we introduce the technologies and techniques of small and mid-sized companies. This time is a report on a maker of springs.
From World Business Satellite, cramped schools facing a shrinking population pursue diversified strategies to lock in students.
Also from World Business Satellite, looking at the changing environment for job-hunting students.
And in Takumi, a new way to take hard-to-swallow medicine. So let's get started. First up is Dreamweavers, in which we introduce one-of-a-kind techniques and technologies of Japan's small and mid-sized companies. So Naganuma-san, what are we focusing on today?
Today we are focusing on springs.
Springs. That's something that we consumers don't see that often.
No, because they're usually inside the product.
Right.
Now, the spring maker we'll be featuring this time is called Murata Springs. And has become one of the top companies in this field in the world. For example, Valve Springs for car engines. It's said that Murata Springs are found in almost all regular trucks made in Japan.
That's impressive, but springs have a simple structure, so what makes their product different from competitors?
Well, they seem simple, but the strength for Murata Springs is durability, which is important. For example, in case of engines, even if a single spring breaks, the engine will stop moving, which is dangerous. So making springs actually requires a range of technologies, and research and development has been a big focus for the company.
So which means that for many of these firms, technology is their competitive advantage.
And we have a report on the many hidden technologies that are coiled in their springs. Take a look.
The Paris-Dakar Rally is said to be the toughest automobile race in the world. Mitsubishi Motors' Pajero clinched its first victory in 1985. A certain component is said to have played a crucial role in that feat. This spring. Called a valve spring, it is used for car engines. At first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything special about it, but it's actually made with a technology that's a world's first.
We want to make it as durable and light as possible. It's a very tough challenge.
They spent 2 years working on numerous prototypes before finally developing a commercial product. This spring is now used in almost all trucks in Japan of 4 tons or larger, and plays a crucial role in the logistics industry. Visiting the manufacturing site is a photographer that takes pictures of people from a slightly unusual viewpoint.
You look busy.
Workers busy making springs. How will he capture them on camera?
Is there anyone in the company you look up to? My boss. My goal is to do things like he does. You might think I'm strange, but I think springs are really cool.
This is a place where people are passionate about springs. Utsunomiya, Tochigi Prefecture. This is where spring maker Murata Spring was founded 102 years ago. They have 309 employees and boast annual sales of 8.6 billion yen, or more than $70 million. Most people working here grew up in the prefecture. The company's springs are used in a wide range of products, from homes to mobile phones and even rockets. But the mainstay is springs for automobiles and construction equipment. A key strength of the company is its flexibility in meeting the specific demands of customers and churning out various types of springs. Every month, 40 million springs of 4,000 different specifications are produced. Here to document their work is photographer Masashi Asada.
These trucks are probably carrying springs.
Mr. Asada published a photo collection called The Asada Family in 2008, showing his own family in a variety of occupations and situations. The humor and warmth depicted in his pictures received rave reviews, and he won the Kimura Ihei Award, the highest honor for new photographers in Japan. One week before visiting Murata Spring,
今回浅田さんに行っていただくのはですね、バネの会社です。
バネ
Springs?
バネです。ちなみに乗用車にですね、はい、バネ何個使われていると思われます？
どんだけ多く見ても100
So maybe 100?
4000個です。
4,000? Springs tend to be in places that aren't visible, but I'm realizing that they're all around us in our daily lives. I'm curious to find out why people want to work at a spring maker. I want to know what their vision is. There are a lot of questions I want to ask.
On the day of the shoot, Mr. Asada is met by the company president, Sumio Takahashi.
今日は浅田さんにどういう写真を撮ってもらいたいですか？
ありますか？そういうオファーが。
いえ、やはりですね、
はい。
The factory isn't clean enough to show off. So if you can show it in the best light possible.
The president is unpretentious. He quickly takes his visitor inside. First, he shows off the company's core products. These are called valve springs and are used in automobile engines.
Our valve springs are used in almost 100% of 4-ton or bigger trucks in Japan. 4 truck makers use our products. 100%? So this is your company's core product? Yes, this is the pride of our employees. It would be a big problem if something happened inside the engine. Yes, anything goes wrong and the engine's gone. So, how long can it last? Trucks are considered new up until 1 million kilometers on the road.
This is footage of an experiment to test durability. The springs expand and contract 1,500 times a minute to see how many millions of kilometers on the road they can withstand. Hino Motors is one truck maker impressed with the quality of the company's springs. The engine can be likened to the heart of a truck. With quality a key requirement, the trusted products of Murata Spring are indispensable for engine valves. Springs come in various shapes and sizes.
This is completely different. Yes, it's a plate. This is stainless steel and quite thick, about 1 millimeter. It's used for electromagnetic clutches of air conditioners in passenger cars. It's very difficult to make. The most difficult is surface texturing. This is difficult? It's not that easy to make it uniform. So this is the spring.
Spellbound by the springs, Mr. Asada snaps a picture.
It has a cool shape. There are quite a lot.
Mr. Asada tours the factory for about 2 hours. He has more questions for the president.
As a company, are you thinking of following a certain strategy, or are there any issues you want to tackle? We're a company, so it's important to generate sales. But we also face the problem of people, of ensuring that techniques are passed on to the next generation. And for that, we need to attract young people.
One of the most difficult aspects of spring making is figuring out the characteristics of the main material, the wire. The wires are made from steel, combined with various materials such as chromium, nickel, and silicon. They say the level of difficulty is different from typical metal processing.
Depending on the characteristics of the materials, it won't always work in the same way. It's different each time. That's why it's difficult.
In spring making, the wire used and the coiling method are different for each type, requiring the machines to be constantly adjusted. That task takes 2 hours for a seasoned worker. A young worker might need a full day. Mr. Asada starts walking through the factory on his own. He talks to workers along the way.
What are you doing now? Making clutch springs. When this moves by comma 1, it means a certain weight can be moved. Comma 1?
With these springs, when the space between the first and second levels widens by 1/10 of a millimeter, the strength falls by 6 kilograms.
Why did you decide to work here? I like making things. It's more satisfying doing work like this. In the beginning, that was a lot of trouble for the older guys.
Murata Spring was founded as a hardware shop in Utsunomiya in 1913. In the mid-1920s, they built their own factory. And later, during the economic boom period, the company expanded. Everything appeared to be going well.
During both oil crises and the financial crisis, we were really struggling then. Sales were down sharply, about 40%.
The company's future was under threat. To ride out the storm, they decided to focus on improving their technical capabilities. And through that effort was born a product unlike any in the world.
Until then, we used wires that had a circular shape. But our idea was to make springs with oval-shaped wires.
The conventional method of making springs was to use circular wires. But the company developed a spring from oval-shaped wires. This seemingly insignificant difference allowed for shorter springs, therefore more compact and lighter. What's more, with oval-shaped wires, pressure is evenly distributed, allowing the springs to withstand greater force.
They have a completely different characteristic compared to circular wires, so we struggled a lot.
After 2 years of trial and error, they finally developed a product unlike any in the world. It was adopted by Mitsubishi Motor for its Pajero model. Light and strong, the spring helped the car company clinch its first victory in the Paris-Dakar Rally.
Omron is a company like no other. It defines expectations because engineers are constantly working on something new. Machines that are attuned to the way people think and move. Therein lies technology that will one day help the future. We automate. Omron.
Mitsui & Company.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. Well, Nagazuma-san, what's the topic?
First, let's look at these figures here. Now, they represent the decline in a certain group of people in society. Can you guess who they are?
Well, 200,000 to 80,000. Maybe does it have something to do with children?
Close. Well, this is actually the number of students who failed their university entrance exams and are starting to retake them the following year.
I see. Well, it seems the effects of declining birth rate are also being seen in this segment.
Yes, since around the 1990s, the population of 18-year-olds have been going down.
Right.
But then on the other hand, universities have increased due to deregulation, so the acceptance rate has gone up.
So in other words, there are more openings at university than applicants.
That's right, and because of this, exam preparation cram schools are struggling to attract students.
So cram schools are also being forced to change with time in order to survive.
Yes, and many are starting to pursue multi-pronged strategies. Take a look.
In August of last year, major cram school operator Yoyogi Seminar announced the closure of 20 of its 27 schools. With Japanese people having fewer children, the number of students who fail and need to retake university entrance examinations has dropped 60% from the peak. That's forcing exam preparation cram schools into a fight for survival. 7 in the evening. A classroom of Meiko Cram School in Fujimidai. They are the biggest provider of individualized instruction, including one-on-one and group tutoring. The company runs 2,100 classes nationwide for more than 130,000 students. They've grown by teaching pupils how to study effectively, and nearly 100 new classes are opened every year. But last year, the number of students shrank for the first time.
There's a steady trend towards fewer children, and there aren't any factors that will make the market grow any bigger. The business environment is tough for everyone. We need to solidify our foundation while also changing the methodology and taking on new challenges.
Using its know-how in education, the company has started offering after-school care and study programs for children, an area where there is a significant shortage of options. The children enrolled here number about 70. The basic hours are Monday to Friday between 1 and 7 in the afternoon. The fee is 54,000 yen a month. It's significantly higher than publicly run programs that typically cost just several thousand yen. Still, as they will look after children until 10 in the evening, pick them up from elementary school, and even take them to other lessons, there's a waiting list to get in.
I bring my child here 5 times a week. That's how worthwhile it is.
And the biggest attraction is that instructors teach the children literature and math using textbooks developed by the Cram School. They also offer art classes to develop creative self-confidence. And soccer classes taught by professionally certified coaches for an additional fee. Combined with the regular monthly payment, the cost is certainly not insignificant, but they say more than 70% of children enroll in these additional classes.
My child takes 2 extra classes a week, soccer and art. It's not cheap, but it's worth the money you pay.
Mako plans to start after-school programs in 3 new locations, tapping into demand from households in which both parents work.
Children who join after-school programs are steadily increasing. There's unmistakable demand. We mainly operate on the edges of Tokyo, but plan to expand to the center.
Another company, Ichishin Holdings, operates 117 schools, mainly in central Tokyo. They own 15 buildings and have been offering group lessons similar to Yoyogi Seminar, but business is struggling. So now they're shifting to one-on-one lessons. Still,
we've focused on group lessons, so it's been difficult to make the switch. Cram schools don't have big prospects in terms of growing revenue in the future. We have no choice but to diversify just to maintain our current business. The challenge is how well we can keep up with changes in society.
Mid-February, being held inside a conference room,
we held this meeting because we wanted today's lecture to be as useful to you as possible.
Gathered as students are 11 teachers from private junior high and high schools. The company has started offering lectures on teaching methods using tablet devices. What's more, at one of their buildings in Saitama Prefecture, the first-floor office for the Cram School has been renovated into a nursing care facility run by a group firm.
We want to invest more in nursing care. Fortunately, we own several buildings. There was a time when they were fully occupied. But with fewer children now, it's becoming difficult to fill all of the floors. We're hoping to do this partly to better utilize our properties.
They plan to open facilities in 6 locations by 2018, with the aim of capturing demand from a graying society. While the industry's top companies struggled, one Cram School operator is continuing to grow its business. Yaruki Switch Group Holdings, a Cram School chain that runs classes called School IE for elementary and junior high school students. They developed an individualized program to build motivation, sparking interest in one-on-one lessons and growing revenue and profit for 14 straight years.
If you tell people that all Cram schools are the same, then you can't win them over. In our case, our weapon is that we've developed various tools. Our strategy is to continually come up with new ideas and programs, while our one-on-one classes and School IE are in this growth stage.
And in 2013, they launched Kids Duo International, a bilingual daycare program in Yokohama.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
At 8:30, a school bus arrives at the facility. There are 275 children in all, aged 3 to 6. With children here said to acquire a high level of fluency in English, applications are flooding in. Native English speakers teach subjects such as math.
So we shouldn't watch too much TV. Why is that?
When you watch TV for a really long time, your eyes will hurt and...
As Kids Duo International is not an officially licensed daycare facility, no financial aid is provided by the government. Because of that, parents need to pay the full tuition, which comes to about 100,000 yen a month for 5 days a week. Even so, they received 1,800 applications for the 168 available openings. One parent explains why they've become so popular.
This costs a lot less than taking them to various classes in kindergarten. Children are an asset, and this is when you should spend money.
This spring, they plan to open their second bilingual daycare facility in Mitaka, Tokyo.
In every age, what people want changes. And it's the same in education. If we don't take half a step or a full step forward, we can't meet the demands of parents. It's important that we continually make an effort.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way, the Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
The sport truck. New Mitsubishi Triton.
Drive at Earth Mitsubishi Motors.
Why does the world need a new weekly publication covering Asian business?
Because there are stories in Asia that are yet to be told. Stories that will transform the way we do business and the way we live. There are stories that are only told to locals, stories that cross borders, stories that connect one side of Asia to another, in ways that are not always obvious.
We're here to tell those stories.
See what others don't. Introducing Nikkei Asian Review.
Well, Nagamura-san, what's next?
Well, we talked about students entering university. Now we'll talk about students graduating university. And they go through job hunting, just as we did.
Yes.
Now, in Japan, there's actually an official starting date for job hunting by university students, and it's also when companies start their recruitment activities.
Well, I know there have been a big change in schedule starting from students graduating in 2016, right?
Yes, there's been a debate over the years on the time and effort spent on job hunting activities when they should be spending it on academics, and the government wanted to revise this. So to respond to the request, the Keidanren, the Japan Business Federation, has pushed back the official start of recruitment season.
Well, I understand that this new guidelines, it's now 3 months later than what it used to be. But is it causing any problem?
Seems so. If you can look over here, This is from a recent survey of university students, and many say the later starting date puts them at a disadvantage.
I see. Well, why is that?
Well, some of the reasons include not having enough time to apply to alternative companies if they're not hired by their first choice companies. And also the schedule overlaps with graduation thesis, which gives them little time to prepare for interviews.
I see. Well, I've also heard that the companies themselves are having a little trouble adjusting to this new schedule.
Yes, that seems the case. For recruiters, it means the time to select the candidates before they graduate is shortened, so they may not be able to lock in the ideal candidates if they proceed with the standard process.
Well, actually, I was under the impression that the improving economy in this new schedule will be advantageous for students and students looking for a job, but that's not necessarily the case.
Yes, and the shortened job hunting season is creating difficulties. Take a look.
The job hunting season this year is said to be a battle against time. But the students feel differently.
Did both of you have a summer internship? I had a 2-month internship at an IT firm. That's a long one.
They are all juniors at Waseda University. Their search for a post-graduation job actually began with internships last summer. More than 6 months have passed.
When it takes this long, you start to lose energy. Plus, you can't do anything else in between. To be honest, I haven't been able to do any studying for quite a while.
This year, Kei Danren, or the Japan Business Federation, changed its guidelines, pushing back the official starting date of job interviews from April to August. As a result, major companies need to delay early and formal job offers usually sent out around May to August or later. At the same time, a growing number of companies have ignored those guidelines, issuing job offers during the winter. From job offers in the winter to job offers in the summer, students now face a prolonged search for employment. This student got a job offer at the end of last year from an ad agency.
After my internship, I was invited to apply for a job there. Yes, because it wasn't my first choice.
Even though he already locked in a job, he's still confused about the process this year.
Honestly, this year's job hunting season baffles me. For some companies, you have to start applying in January or February in the midst of exams. Others offer internships with no prospect of being hired. There are exams, internships, applications. It's an incomprehensible situation. Study isn't considered a priority.
Companies are addressing the prolonged job hunting season in different ways, confusing the students. Amid this, some have already ended their search. Koya Furuta of Waseda University applied to an entrepreneurial venture that's not bound by Kei Danren guidelines. The company that gave him a job offer is Crowdworks. It was listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange Mothers section in December last year, and the president, Koichiro Yoshida, has high hopes for new graduates.
We have people who produced results as interns and joined as directors. So, you can do it too.
An entrepreneurial venture in which new graduates are immediately put on the front lines. Mr. Furuta says that was what attracted him.
It's an age where anything can happen. If I'm in an environment where I can develop myself, that itself will be a risk hedge and allow me to live even if I'm on my own.
He worked as an intern here during summer holidays last year and received a job offer by September.
I also interned here in August and received a job offer afterwards. Seeing new interns brings back memories.
Crowdworks has offered jobs to 13 interns so far. They plan to hire a total of 20 new graduates. 1 in 4 students today express interest in joining entrepreneurial ventures, including companies that are now major players such as Rakuten, DNA, and Gree. Experts point out that this trend is having an effect on recruitment.
Big companies now make decisions in the summer, while entrepreneurial ventures give out offers in the winter. The time gap is too wide. The trend towards entrepreneurial ventures may accelerate.
These moves are also causing worry among major companies. Trading firm Mitsubishi Corporation says it will stick to the guidelines and won't start interviews until August.
We've heard that some companies are giving out job offers in January and February. What's important is university alumni visits. The whole company needs to cooperate in this.
In mid-February, the HR department gathered young employees for a meeting to announce the launch of an alumni visit center. The department will deal directly with requests from students to visit university alumni at the company and introduce them to young employees. The aim is to establish direct contact with 1,000 students by August, when the interview process begins. What's more, they've restarted a certain program for the first time in 8 years.
Mitsubishi is a very strong brand because people know it from the cars. It was actually
a video conference with employees working in Singapore. Taking part are students still in university. This year, interns were hired for the first time in 8 years, about 120 in all. They were chosen out of 3,400 applicants. The interns are divided into teams and work with employees to come up with ideas for new businesses for a general trading company in 2030.
Producing grains in Africa that can become a staple food. What would be the production volume? We haven't worked on actual figures yet.
The company says this internship program is not linked in any way to hiring decisions. But significant resources have been invested, with about 50 employees involved in running it for several days. This is the company's hiring manager.
There are many rivals and lots of new companies that are full of energy. We want to engage in friendly competition to do all we can to make ourselves more attractive to job seekers. Panic? No, we're not panicked. We'll do what we have to do. People who understand will come to us.
Major companies are doing all they can to increase contact with students. To address that demand, a cafe was recently opened near Waseda University.
Hello. Don't be too nervous.
Shunsuke Kawabe is from Nomura Research Institute. On this day, he's having a lunch meeting with job hunting students. He answers their detailed questions about what it's like to be a management consultant.
Can you join the company as a consultant and later become a systems engineer? There aren't many cases, but if you ask, you might be able to.
This cafe is operated with investment from 30 major companies such as Nomura Research Institute, Mitsui & Company, and Kansai Electric. They each pay an annual membership fee of 900,000 yen, or about $7,500, and can use the space to talk directly with students.
I think it's important to simply provide spaces where students can meet employees.
The cafe is scheduled to open branches near 7 other universities after the spring, including the University of Tokyo and Keio University.
Companies want an efficient way to meet directly with students. They want to hone in on universities with students who are a good fit for their business.
Big companies are feeling a sense of crisis as this year's recruitment season kicks off. The battle over students is likely to intensify further.
It seems both students and companies are unsure how to deal with these new guidelines.
Yes, quite a few companies say they don't have enough time to identify ideal candidates if they start recruitment activities in August. So instead, they're relying on recruiters or internships to reach out to their ideal candidates.
Well, with the shortened job hunting season, I'm sure preparation for job interviews are becoming more crucial.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
Yes. Well, after the break, a new episode from Takumi.
Potenza.
Let's paint a vision, your imagination. It started moving round the world. Dream car. Let's paint a vision, your imagination. It started moving round the world. From a sketch on a piece of paper, come together now. Dream car.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we bring a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK that introduces the latest developments in science and technology in Japan.
Takumi means artisan in Japanese, and it's a word to describe craftsmen with exceptional skills.
So who's our Takumi today?
Our Takumi is someone who developed a way to take medicine without water.
Without water?
Yes.
Well, swallowing down a pill without help of liquids, that seems quite difficult for elderly and children.
Yes, it is. So, and what's interesting is that the inventor actually works in a completely different field. I'm sure you've heard of metal stamping.
Metal stamping, which means stamping a thin layer of metal to paper or other materials, right?
That's it. And the company we'll be featuring today applied its metal stamping technology to develop a revolutionary medicine delivery method.
...250 kilometers west of Tokyo lies Kakamigahara City, Gifu Prefecture, a town blessed with natural beauty and the famous Kiso River.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I've heard that a company from this town has created a next-generation drug delivery product. Let's go and find out what it's all about.
Hello, I'm Michelle Yamamoto. This is our Takumi or innovator, Tadao Tsukioka. I've heard that you've invented a next-generation drug.
It's called a thin film drug.
A thin film drug? Opening up the sachet.
It's a film. Look, it's incredibly thin.
It's a drug you can take without any liquid.
The Takumi's invention is a dissolving drug delivery film. It's only 50 micrometers thick, but contains a dose of pharmaceutical drugs. When the film is put into water, in about 20 seconds, it dissolves completely. When taken orally with tongue pressure and saliva, it dissolves in an instant and is easily swallowed.
Okay, let's try.
We tried a placebo sample.
It dissolves right away. It's gone.
I heard that there are more and more people who can't even swallow water now. So I worked to come up with a drug format for those kind of people.
Swallowing difficulties, also known as dysphagia, are becoming more of a problem amongst the world's aging populations. This thin film drug was created especially for such people. It is also gaining attention in the healthcare sector as a drug that is easy to administer to children. The Takumi who developed this drug was originally doing something completely different. We went to see his factory. It looks very much like a printing plant.
We specialize in hot stamp printing.
Hot stamping is a method of applying thin metal leaf onto things, and has long been used in Japanese traditional crafts. It is now used on packaging and posters to give a premium quality touch. But this highly skilled hot stamping craftsman then chose to move into the unknown world of pharmaceuticals. Hot stamping was already being used on food at the time. Thin gold leaf was applied to decorate foods for celebrations and the like. The Takumi thought about using the same technology for pharmaceuticals.
Then the name thin film drug suddenly came to me. It was then that I decided to turn the business into a pharmaceutical company that makes thin film drugs.
But the development path was a rocky road. Pills are made using powdered substances, but film format drugs are made using liquids. Additives are required to make the liquid. But the Takumi found that the additives negated the drug's intended effect. This problem was not easily solved. It took the Takumi and his team 2 years to create an additive agent that did not alter the effectiveness of the medicine. This is the drug solution they created. It is dried and vaporized to turn it into a thin film, using the company's own edible film-making technology. The Takumi's technology is in increasing demand from pharmaceutical companies at home and abroad. The former hot stamp printer Takumi, who successfully developed a thin film drug format, shares his fundamental approach.
I have always had a strong desire to take on challenges with things that other people were unable to do, or that nobody has ever tried before. And I think that my employees also believe in my dreams with me.
Well, applying printing technology to completely a different field, that's quite an imaginative endeavor.
Yes, I agree. And you don't need water or liquid, so people who have to stay lying down in bed or can't sit up can't take their medicine as well.
I see. Well, with growing number of elderly people, I wouldn't be surprised if this technology will become more widespread.
I think it will.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so join us again next time.